Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to my guide on how to make a beginner-friendly loot filter for Lost Epoch. So for any loot-based RPGs, there is usually a loot filter for the game. Lost Epoch is no different. They do have a built-in system for you to customize with quite a lot of options to choose from. Just before you jump into it, just a quick reminder for you to hit that like button and also consider subscribing to the channel. It do help out a lot. So let's jump right into it. First, to get into your loot filter, you can press Shift F and it should look something like this. Also, you can press Escape, go to Settings, and down here at Gameplay, down here you can also press and you will get to the same page. After you get here, create a filter, and you can import others filter if you want to, and you can also create a new one. Once you get here, you can name it a title like this, and you can give it a description like that, and make it an icon if you want to, and also adding a color to it, so it looks something like that. And now you've created your loot filter. Let's start by adding some rules. And the thing I usually start with is I'm going to hide everything that I do not want to be shown. So let's start by going to rarity and putting normal, magic and rare to the list. And press add. And this means we'll now hide everything that's gonna be dropped as a normal, magic or a rare item. Pretty basic. Let's add another rule. And this is gonna be for idols. So Lost Epoch has a lot of idols, and I'm going to disable all the small ones and also the humble and stout ones. So it's the minor idols in the game, and I'm usually just disabling them for now, but we're going to add some new rules that will bypass some of them. Okay, so now you have your basic setup, and what I want to do next is moving on with the idols. And so for this we're going to go with the show, and on the affixes going all the way down here, and it's on the general idols we want to look, and here you have all these kind of stats, and I'm usually going for health and physical resist. And you can easily see, skipping the fire code down, just hold on your skills. Necro, you can easily see here poison, what the skill is scaling for. Elemental resist, if you're because elemental resist for your own build. So in this case, we have the cold, spell, and you can do here put in whatever you want. This one is also very good for my build, so I'm gonna apply it as well. And for this skill, we have the cold, spell, and intelligence, something like that. So just take whatever if you're uncertain on what stats that you would like to get on them. Continue, and here with at least one. So if we find idol with one of those stats that we picked, the item will now show, because this will bypass this rule. And another thing to note just before we continue is in the order the rules are laid out. So for instance, if this rule that we just made is at the bottom, this hide rule will overwrite this one. So in this case, none of the smaller idols will show, but if we have this one here, on top, if we have this one on top of this one, they will now show with the mods that we took. So next, let's continue with the stats that we want for our items. So let's continue with affixes, And for this character that I'm using it for, I am going for a spellcaster. So let's start with the stats here. I would like with the intelligence one. And I'm going with the spells here. Let's grab everything here. And damage type. So for this character I'm going to cold and fire. You can also go with elemental. Let's roll down here, and we want the fire pen and cold pen as well. General stats. I would like some crit multiplier for this one. And let's see. Health is always good. I usually take all of the resistance. You can go and pick out any particular that you need. But usually just picking everything is the best way to do, in my opinion. I'm also going for ward. And movement speed and cooldown is also a really good one to take. And I'm going to pick this one. It's a hybrid mod that I really like. So yeah, so that's pretty much that. And yeah, so that's the major stats that I want for this character. You can narrow it down if you want to, and you could go even more specific. But yeah, so this is usually what I do for every single loot filter that I have. And this one, oh, down here, so you can pick between 1 and 4. And this means, so for every item have 4 different affixes on them. So you have 2 prefixes and 2 suffixes. So this means if you put like 2 here, that means all the items with at least 2 of all these stats that we pick needs to be on the item for the item to be shown. And you could also do the advanced option, and if you do more or equal, so let's say we put 4 in here, this means that an item with 2 of our stats that we choose needs to be at least on tier 4, so both stats need to be at tier 4 to be able to appear. And that's pretty much what we want to go for. So let's do something like this. And if you are on the earlier stages, just put 1 here and don't even bother with the advanced one. You can do this later on when you get through the campaign, and even later on in the campaign, and you might feel that you get too much loot. So yeah, then you can just go back in here and go and change these for a higher value, so you get less drops. Let's put it at 1 for now. Next, another thing that I want you to do is another hide. And this is for class requirements. So usually when I play, I disable everything else that I cannot equip. So for this time I am doing mage, so let's pick everything else here. And by doing so, now we have disabled all of the other class specific items. And another one that we want to do also is the rarity and exalted, uniques and set. Doing it like this will bypass every time you get an exalted, set or unique item that is a class specific item, it will now be shown. This is very important so you do not miss out on those GG items. Another thing that you can do, you can also go in here and you can recolor items. So for instance, if you go here, you can go and take some affixes, and let's say we want all of the resistance one, and we add. Now all items that will be shown with the resistance are highlighted red. And let's do another one. Let's say we take the pink one here, and we can also go for item types, and we want all of our idols. Now all our idols will be shown as pink instead. So this is basically the filter that I'm using for all of my characters, and as I said, you can easily just change the value here to whatever you want. So let's say you start with 1, and when you get into the campaign a bit, you can change it to 2 instead, even 3. You can go into advanced and do a higher value over here. Let's say you want to go while you have 2 and they need to be on tier 3, for example. And you can also go on this one, and this one will change so the item needs to have a total of, let's say, 12 total affixes on the item for it to show. So yeah, you could just go here and just increase these numbers however you want to while you are playing through the campaign and even into the end game. If you made it all the way to the end, I just want to thank you for taking your time watching, and I hope you learned something from all of this. And if you did, don't forget to hit that like button and also consider subscribing to the channel for even more. It do help out a lot. And with that said, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!